get no rest. No, no. I've been running so long that my feet don't work no more. Oh yeah. I've been running so long that my feet don't work no more.
Well, in that last video that I did, you see that I unboxed a few goodies. Actually, I've got another goodie on the way that hopefully will be here in the next few days that we'll unpack maybe shortly, and probably something that I don't really need yet, but it's just something that was on special, so I grabbed it. But anyway, when I put the strut brace on here, I found that it's really sitting right at the very edge of the strengthening plate that sits on top of the strut tower. So I've made these couple of pieces that are going to go on the front, just so that we can spread the load over a larger area. I think that's the best thing to do. So today I'm going to start welding that in, and we'll see how far we get and what else we get done today. Oh yeah, I've also got a couple of gussets that go on the chassis, which I'll just try and get this over and have a look. If you look down there, I've got that gusset, so there'll be one going on each side just to add a little bit more strength. So I've made up my paper template for the gusset that's going to sit in on the chassis rail. I've transferred it over onto the piece of steel and cut it out. So I'll just show you how this fits into place. So there's the paper one bent and stuck into place. I think I can actually cut that down that side there and bring it over a little bit further. And this is the one that's been cut already and shaped up to go in on this side. So I'll finish off this other one and then we'll look at welding those in. Well, I've got the little gussets for the chassis rails on each side made up, and a couple of top plates for those strut towers. So I'm just going to put them in the blast cabinet and give them a blast. These are a little bit surface rust. I'll just take all that off. And these, I just want to get the pen marks off that I've put on so that they don't show through the paint later. So that's what I'll do now. tidying up the welds on the top plate there now, on the driver's side, and so then we'll move across and continue the welding on the passenger side. Welding this steel is actually quite nice. It's probably 2 mil, a bit thicker than the panel steel, which is less than 1 millimeter thick. Still got to be careful though, it gets hot very quickly. You'll see I've got the light right over the top of me there. As I've said before, I'm just having a lot of trouble seeing when I'm welding these days. I think I'm getting older and the eyes aren't quite so good. And so now just tidying that weld up a little bit. But what I was going to say, I'm just going to, in the next couple of clips, weld the strut brace in place, and then I'm going to put some of the older video that I've taken up where I repaired the drip rails that were cut off the roof of this car, and also the rear quarters, which was the rear quarter vents, which were completely welded up and sealed off. Now I've decided I'm going to open them back up. I think that the car really needs the circulation of air through the vehicle to keep from fogging up in the cold weather, and just probably make it more pleasant. I will be air conditioning, well, my plan is to air condition this car to make it much more comfortable driving around town. I do want to use it as my daily driver. So in these videos of doing the roof work, I basically made the drip rails up before I had the English wheel and the shrinker stretcher and the bead roller there. But you'll see probably when I'm doing the actual passenger side, because I did the driver's side first. By the time I got to the passenger side, I think I actually did have those things. You'll see them in the video. But yeah, I didn't have them when I started out. I just folded the drip rails up pretty much by hand, and they come up okay. You'll see that I haven't continued the drip rail down the front pillar. I've just stopped it at the top at the front, and I think the Mark 1 Escorts actually they stopped there, and they also didn't go down the back pillar, I don't think either. So anyway, we'll get those videos up right now. Well, I think the next job I've really got to get in and tackle, because the rust is getting worse in the last couple of years I've had the car sitting here. So this is the edge of the roof above the doors, and unfortunately the butcher that owned this car before me, he got in and he's cut the water rail, the drip rail right off. So I've been procrastinating or thinking about how to go about it. So I think I'm going to cut this section right out along here, right the way along, and weld a new drip rail in along the bottom, and then put a new piece right the way along there. I've also got the C pillars here, which the guy that's had it sort of filled up the vents, and again I've been thinking, you know, should I put the vents back in? I think I will. So I'm guessing I'm going to have to try and get myself some of the hockey sticks, as they call them, the grills that go over those things, so that I can work out where to position the vents, and I'll replace all this rusty steel here. So I think that's what my next job will be. Okay, I've cut that out now. It actually looks in pretty good shape in there. There's a little bit of surface rust just down the bottom there. I'm surprised they didn't try and at least treat it with something before they'd weld it up. Before, there's some seam sealer, I guess it is. It's a real rubbery seam sealer, which is still quite soft in there. It was sort of smoking a bit when I was cutting that out. So anyway, I might just continue on and join up with that cut that I've made up there, and then I'm going to sort of work out which way I'm going to tackle this. So I will keep on going. call it a day. I ran out of gas with the welder. Got the first half of the roof done. Next week we'll do the back section. Well, it's a bit compact in here, but I didn't want to take the car out today and move it around and get it's been raining. I didn't want any rain to get on any of the bare metal. But this is the piece that I've made up to go in this rear quarter. This is where they have a bit of a known rust problem. The water gets in through this vent and runs down there. Now, I don't know how they are original, because this had been all welded up and tampered with, but I've placed a bit of steel in the back there so that any water that falls in there is going to run down and flow out instead of running down in sitting in there and causing the rust issue. So anyway, I'm going to weld this one in on this side and see how it goes. So that's that one welded in. And